Hey team, it's Les. Thanks for joining me today for another CHOT Teachable Moments. Today we continue in the series we're calling The Experience, how to positively affect quality scores and deliver superior care. Remember, these are all the CAPS questions that we're going through one at a time. Today we're going to tackle two more questions. First being question 12, which says, did the hospice team provide care that respected your family members' wishes? So what can we do to affect the answer in a positive way for this survey question? Well, the first thing we need to do is know what their wishes are, right? And document those early and clearly. So when we're trying to find that out, we want to ask open-ended questions like, what does hospice care ideally look like for you? Or what is most important as we care for you, right? And we want to document that so the rest of the team has that communication and we can all be on the same page working towards the same goal. The next thing is include the family as partners in care. So, when it's appropriate, we want to make sure we're including them in conversations and giving them regular updates. And we always want to go back to the patient's wishes, right? So, everything we do, we should be doing in alignment with what the patient wants at the end of their life. And the final thing is to check in for real time feedback. What we mean by this is that we want to encourage the family to communicate, right? And to ask questions during care, not just when they get the survey after. We want to be able to get that real time feedback so we can then adjust our plan of care if we need to or address those concerns so that when they get this survey, right, after the patient's passed, then they think back, did the hospice team respect my family members' wishes? And so if we're always in our plans of care, in our delivery of care, if we're always working towards what those wishes are in our plan of care, then we'll accomplish that. All right, the next question is question 13, and that question says, did the hospice team make an effort to listen to the things that mattered most to you or your family member? So, how do we do that? How do we affect that? We want to start with intentional listening. And what I mean by that is active listening, right? Participative listening, so that we're asking open ended questions and that we're paying attention and then making actions in our plan of care based on what we gathered in intentional listening. And we go back to the very beginning of care, right? We should start at the beginning when we're admitting a patient, when we're first taking a patient on as a case manager, as a social worker, as a spiritual care coordinator, as an aide, right? And asking what's most important, what brings them comfort, or what they're hoping for during their hospice stay. And this could be as simple as I just want to pass at home peacefully surrounded by my family, right? So that becomes our goal. Everything we do, we work towards making that goal accomplishable for the patient. So the next thing we could do is address emotional and spiritual needs, not just physical. We have a tendency, right, and rightfully so, to be hyper focused on symptom management and making sure that they're physically comfortable, right? But we have to remember that dying and the end of life is complex, right? So it includes emotional issues, it includes spiritual issues. So we want to make sure we try to get our social workers and our spiritual care coordinators involved in their care early and often. And then finally, we want to avoid making assumptions. And this is part of clear communication, right? Is revisiting our plan of care, revisiting their goals, right? Because those things can change as well as we go down this path. So we want to make sure we're not assuming that because this is what they wanted or the wishes they communicated at the very beginning of their hospice stay, we want to make sure those things are still the same as we travel down that path. Finally, we're going to talk about fruits of your labor. So these are comments that we receive back on the CAP survey about our care that we deliver and about specific people sometimes. So we'll start with Waco. And Waco, outstanding care and support from the entire team. I would especially like to call out my aunt's nurse, Kevin, as he could not have done more for my aunt or our family. And what higher praise can we give, right? So, Kevin, kudos to you. Kudos to the entire Waco team. In Fort Worth, everyone on the team gave us outstanding care and support. Elise and Shamara were not just team members, but wonderful friends. Again, the highest of praise we can get For Elise and Shamara and the entire team, kudos to y'all and kudos to the entire Fort Worth team. And next in Cleburne, thank you to the entire community hospice team for the care and comfort for the final days and weeks of both of my parents. God bless all of your staff. Kudos to the entire Cleburne team. Finally, the Hospice House of Hughley. These people were great. I would like to thank all who cared for my husband. They were very good at what they do. Thanks to all of you. Kudos to the Hospice House. Thank you, as always, for everything you do every day for our patients, our families, our caregivers, our facilities, and for one another. Y'all have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.